Harry and Meghan found themselves in the spotlight, where every move they made was closely watched. Then, a shocking secret came out, surprising everyone. Harry, in a moment of carelessness, let slip the story of Meghan Markle's fake pregnancy. It goes to show that nothing stays hidden forever. If you do something wrong, it will eventually come to light. Harry didn't need to reveal any lies about his wife. Many people, especially mothers, were sure Meghan never carried their child or gave birth. The biggest clue was her fake baby bump, which sometimes disappeared or was worn too high. One day it was clearly seen at her calf length, almost falling from her purple dress and red coat combo. Harry mentioned how his wife had an epidural and soon after giving birth, she was up and about, even taking a bath. What a hero, right? Any woman who has had an epidural knows she can't walk for hours because it numbs the body from the injection site down. Harry's wife acts like she knows everything and thinks we are pretty gullible. But she doesn't realize this. Harry didn't see any of this himself, he just repeated what his wife told him. Her stories about her supposed pregnancies clearly show she never actually carried a baby. The story of the miscarriage is an absurd tale made up to win sympathy and blame the British royal family for mistreating Meghan, and of course racism. Harry and Meghan spin a foolish story about going to the hospital, having a miscarriage, and returning home the same evening with their tiny deceased baby, which they buried in their garden. No one questioned them. Sadly, Harry seems to accept whatever nonsense his wife tells him, and no one challenges them. The media even promotes this fiction, reporting it without question. Anyone who has experienced a miscarriage or any medical professional in obstetrics knows that the miscarriage story Harry and Meghan describe is complete nonsense. Is there any escape from this absurdity? Clearly, this is just a small piece of evidence showing that Harry's wife was not pregnant and did not have a miscarriage. Even if a child was involved, it wasn't born from her. Harry and his wife talk about babies and children in ways that make it clear they have no real experience with them. There might be a child born through surrogacy, and this is just the beginning of the many lies they tell. It wasn't Harry who accidentally exposed the deception, it was his wife. Yes, there were claims about her being from the heartland, but the stories about Lily and Archie are just fiction. Harry and Meghan tell endless lies. These children are not theirs, they biologically belong to other parents. Meghan and Harry cannot interact with them without permission from the real parents. After giving birth vaginally, a mother can only take a shower, sitting on a shower chair with a nurse nearby to ensure her safety. An epidural would have made taking a bath impossible. Her stories are full of inconsistencies. Regarding the miscarriage, it's impossible for her to have walked out of the hospital with the remains. She is clearly not telling the truth. Someone saw her carrying a bag after visiting a dental office behind the hospital. Meghan has never been pregnant but lied twice about being pregnant with Archie and Lilette. This makes me very angry. It's not only ridiculous but also a huge insult to everyone who trusted and supported her. Faking a pregnancy is not just a personal deception, it's a betrayal of the trust of the public and her fans. The images and stories about Meghan's pregnancy made many people feel emotional and connected with her, only to find out it was all a charade. Meghan's actions not only hurt her reputation but also had serious consequences for the royal family. People now question the sincerity and truthfulness of her statements. Those who once admired her feel deeply betrayed and disappointed. Women worldwide felt sympathy and shared in her joy through every stage of her supposed pregnancy, from maternity photos to public appearances. Now that the truth is out, they feel hurt and cruelly deceived. This isn't just about personal deception, it's a lesson on the importance of honesty and public responsibility. Meghan's actions have gone beyond the absurd, becoming a symbol of betrayal and deceit. Meghan's lies about being pregnant with Archie and Lilette are not just ridiculous, they are sinful and unethical. Using the topic of children as a joke is an unforgivable insult. Children are precious gifts from God, and to use them as tools for attention is cruel and deceitful. People who do such things lose the trust and respect of the public and deserve strong condemnation. This behavior is a betrayal of the trust of fans and an insult to everyone who values family and children. Those who use children to deceive and attract attention will eventually face the consequences of their actions. Karma will catch up with them, and their punishment is inevitable. Such unethical actions always come with a price. I've often been stunned by the absolute nonsense Harry shares with the media. For example, Harry claimed his wife had an epidural, gave birth, and then immediately took a long soak in the bath. Anyone who knows about epidurals knows that a woman wouldn't be up and about, much less taking a bath, right after the procedure. It seems she makes up stories because she's never actually experienced it, and perhaps he was kept out of the room to maintain his idealized image of her. He is naive enough to believe her and too unaware to question anything she says. The pride and sincerity with which he told the media this story about his amazing wife made me realize he truly believes her and all the other nonsense she tells him. Another obvious lie was when he said holding the baby, or even a doll, would reveal their deception. It seems like he was trying to say that he noticed the baby's facial changes within 2 weeks. He stumbled over his words, probably thinking no one would notice. Yet, the lies continue unabated. Both of them keep spinning tales like his claim about using all the gas and air himself, which is definitely not true. Meghan's nonsense is echoed by her compliant puppet without any fact-checking, making them appear like habitual liars. Despite their embarrassing blunders, they never seem to learn. Harry also plays along with the deceit. It's surprising that he hasn't faced a breakdown from this cognitive dissonance. Perhaps he uses alcohol and drugs to cope with his emotional turmoil. I don't know where this story will lead next. There are no children here, only imaginary ones. Meghan and Harry often embellished her outlandish stories. I'm quite certain a pregnant woman couldn't wear and walk in stiletto heels or squat down as she did. I've asked women who have been pregnant if that's realistic, and those who responded said no. Especially considering Meghan had a hysterectomy at 29, as her father repeatedly and loudly stated. Personally, I don't care whether she had children or not, as long as they are good parents, providing love, care, and everything else that parenting entails. If they indeed adopted 2 children who might otherwise have ended up in foster care, then she wasn't pregnant. Whether or not they exist, they will never become king or queen of England, so constantly leaving them to flit about the world on private jets for media attention doesn't seem caring. It's clear from Harry's interview that he claimed Archie changed dramatically in just 2 weeks after his supposed birth that morning, showing their inconsistencies. Meghan appears to be a habitual liar, deceiving Harry, who blindly follows her lead. Her anger is fierce, akin to enduring a root canal without anesthesia, while both struggle with failed endeavors. Their ventures amount to little more than grandiose delusions, causing havoc for those around them. Meghan alienates more friends and family as they prioritize self-preservation over truth. They blame others, believing themselves superior and everyone else foolish. Their incessant "we US" rhetoric is exhausting. Their ongoing disgrace to the Crown, the UK, and the world has left everyone exasperated. I witnessed my daughter's harrowing experience of giving birth via epidural and a C-section. It was heartbreaking to see her struggle through post-birth recovery, battling nausea, headaches, and the inability to walk normally. As a mother, I felt powerless, knowing from my own childbirth experience that walking isn't easy afterward. That's why they provide wheelchairs. I doubt I could have managed to walk in 3-inch heels, let alone in a white dress with my body still recovering and out of alignment. The idea of royal women having to dress up and pose for photos after enduring such labor and childbirth is daunting. I don't envy them that pressure at all. I don't believe Meghan was pregnant with Archie. There were no sightings of her pregnant with Lily, and no paparazzi shots. The doctor who supposedly delivered Lily closed their practice and hasn't been heard from since. These pregnancies raise suspicion and don't align with normal family experiences. Then Harry announced the baby's birth in front of a horse stall, which is far from ordinary. Meghan can't fool anyone she lacks intelligence and pregnancy experience. She's mistaken if she thinks she's deceived everyone. Everyone knows she's lying. It's absurd. She ought to learn how to cheat more professionally. I heard she crashed the Inskip wedding to inform Harry she was pregnant. During their time in Australia, staff reportedly overheard them arguing, with Harry questioning if she was ever pregnant. Then there were those infamous moon bump photos. She declined to use the official royal doctors and opted for a different hospital for the birth, with no witnesses signing the birth certificate. On top of that, Kensington Palace initially announced the couple used a surrogate, a statement quickly deleted. It's very unlike someone in Meghan's position. She never spoke about her pregnancy, no stories of morning sickness, cravings, or anything, and not a word about her labor and delivery. She usually seizes every chance to share her feelings and her truth. It's baffling that she said nothing about the pain of childbirth. What do I think? Seriously, every time the yacht woman underwent surgery, she didn't tell her fiancé that she wasn't actually pregnant. She pressured the royal family into arranging a quick, extravagant wedding like William and Catherine's. They even postponed Princess Beatrice's wedding. She pretended to miscarry right before and after the wedding, leaving poor Harry shouting at her, "You were never pregnant." This forced them to have children quickly to match his brother and save face. The woman aimed to secure her royal status by having royal babies with Harry, but they couldn't pull off pretending with fake babies or borrowing kids from neighbors of the Cambridges. Moving to the USA was their only option to keep the borrowed kids away from all the royals. It's baffling to me why only a select few seem to know the truth about Meghan's pregnancies. What's even more perplexing is her tendency to act like an expert on everything, thrive on playing the victim, and always being in the limelight. Yet she has never once discussed, taught, or shared her experience of childbirth. It's incredibly odd. I've never encountered anyone as unkind and malicious as Meghan. Furthermore, why aren't their children ever on vacation with them? Harry and Meghan are frequently in other countries or states far away from their 2- and 4-year-old kids. Anything could happen. Anything does happen. If there were some freak accident, their children wouldn't have them nearby. And if a devastating earthquake struck California while Harry and Meghan were vacationing abroad, they wouldn't be able to assist their children. It seems they prioritize their own desires, appearing narcissistic and hungry for power. Those children don't resemble Grandma Doria or Meghan Markle at all. Clearly, someone is always lying. Meghan has lied her whole life, and it won't stop now. When Meghan was pregnant, her belly looked oddly inflated, and there were countless photos from her supposed baby shower. But later that night, there was no bump, and she was out with Marcus. Her Netflix photos while pregnant looked strangely shaped, not how a real pregnancy looks. She wasn't noticeably big. In the 2nd month, her belly was huge, then it was flat by the 5th. Those kids deserve better than being hidden away so their mom can make money off of them. It's ridiculous. The stories about Meghan's children really bother me. It's been a long time, but it also affects the royal family, especially Catherine Garbove. Meghan Markle's friend mentioned Catherine's absence at Lilibet's first birthday as suspicious. Lilibet celebrated her first birthday in the UK, but Kate and Prince William were absent, overseeing the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee concert rehearsals. Meghan and Harry hosted a small gathering at Frogmore Cottage without any other royals, including Kate, William, and their children. For Lilibet's 3rd birthday, Meghan and Harry celebrated at their California home again, without any royal family members present. Meghan still maintains a friendship with a former close friend, surprising many and raising questions about their perception of Meghan's true nature. It's possible this friend either overlooked Meghan's complexities or was swayed by media praise. Meghan might value this friendship because they share a penchant for discretion. While some might argue these individuals thrive on seeking attention, it also means they navigate a precarious journey together. I wonder if those two are still friends today. Maybe Meghan and her friend rely on each other to maintain an image of perfection, covering up their flaws and questionable behavior. In their world, this friendship could be crucial for surviving in the entertainment industry and preserving a positive public image. Meghan's friend at the time was also seeking favor, evident in her bold critique of Princess Catherine. Whether Meghan provides benefits to her friend remains unclear. There's no specific information indicating that Lilibet visited the UK during the late Queen's Jubilee celebration, a historically significant and solemn occasion, particularly meaningful to the Welsh family in Wales. This is deeply personal for them. It's curious why someone as prominent as her would take interest in these matters, especially since they don't directly affect the lives of others, particularly well-known celebrities like actors. There could be personal motives or goals driving her actions. Perhaps she seeks public exposure or attention to enhance her reputation. Alternatively, her involvement could be tied to her image or upcoming projects. Regarding the flight incident, the pilot denied having any child on board returning from the US, and the flight manifest also didn't list any children arriving in the UK. It seems Catherine's absence was due to a scheduled visit to Wales for a weekend honoring the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee, planned well in advance to commemorate her historic 70-year reign. Despite attempts to disrupt it, the event proceeded as planned despite the Harlequin, who had recently decided to go, arranging a last-minute celebration with the full knowledge that no one could attend. It indeed appears to have been orchestrated, given that Miss and Harriman's photos were all fabricated, and there's strong indication the child wasn't even in London at the time. Mark's companion seems largely uninformed and shares a similar level of animosity towards Meg. Her own career isn't particularly remarkable either. The schedule for Catherine and William's Jubilee was set months in advance. Harry and Meghan did not confirm their attendance, presumably with their children, until just a few days prior. Therefore, any suggestion of a plain delay affecting their plans after the Jubilee celebrations doesn't hold up. If Harry and Meghan genuinely planned a family gathering, they would have ensured the child's presence. Alternatively, could this all be a scheme by that controversial couple? Catherine remains a dedicated working royal, serving in various parts of the country. William and Catherine were in Wales with their children, fulfilling their duties for the Queen. As it turns out, despite knowing this, Harry and Meghan proceeded with their celebration, perhaps so they could later claim that no one attended. Meghan also insisted on a wedding date that clashed with Prince Louis' birth date, which offended Princess Charlotte by the fit of her dress, as well as the dresses of all the other girls in the wedding party. Let's be honest, especially Lily is not a royal. Rachel did not provide the required medical documentation signed by a medical professional regarding the birth of either child from her body. Therefore, until this evidence, in accordance with royal protocol, is presented, they are not formally royal princes or princesses or in the line of succession at this time. King Charles has corrected the records. Indeed, Meghan's grand self-importance is a huge fantasy. She considered pre-arranged events during the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee to be less important than a phony birthday party for Lily. It's particularly troubling that Kells harmed our Queen by trademarking her very personal name in the US without permission. Frankly, who cares what any random housewife thinks? I've never even heard of her. To believe that the Queen's family would skip their planned Jubilee celebrations to attend the first birthday of a child they've never even met is simply absurd. There's clearly something wrong with her thinking. I feel completely powerless with this couple. I've also given up on Meghan's foolish friend, living in that environment with a father who has mental health issues and talks to his deceased mother every night, while she plans her next move. Are there any depths they won't sink to? God help those kids, if they even exist. It's not a loving environment to be in. No one I know is either criticizing or searching for Catherine's flaws. She is widely admired, head to Montecito. If you want to find faults, you'll find what you're looking for about celebrating a birthday. No one cares about a child they don't know because parents prevent them from seeing going over the Harry Markle blog. That's exactly on point. Events suggest the child might not have had a birthday party or might not have been in England during that time. Photos were taken and immediately made headlines. Not a single senior royal was there. Not after how the Kells had treated the Queen and Philip and their awful Oprah interview. There was no way the future Queen would act as if everything was okay. Catherine avoided the Har in the cathedral, and there's no evidence she spoke with either of them the entire 3-day Jubilee weekend. Actually, there's no proof. Catherine has been in touch with Meghan since the Kells left the royal family over 4 years ago. However, despite being at several events together, Catherine never acknowledges Meghan's presence, especially not during the Queen's funeral or related events unless you're very close to the royal family. Our future Queen is friendly and sociable. They say in Britain the worst thing for anyone wanting a relationship with the crown is to upset the Prince and Princess of Wales. Meghan has lost support from all fashion businesses. Has anyone actually seen her? The pictures from Harriman's party and the glazing bars couldn't have been taken at Frogmore Cottage, because that party happened after the Oprah interview. Why would Kate join in, especially when she was busy in Cardiff and there's no proof she was even there? A number of papers have pictures of the red-haired child. People have long believed it's Rebecca, even though she was born after Oprah Winfrey's interview. Prince Philip had passed away a few months earlier. The Queen, who was struggling to walk, had her Platinum Jubilee celebrations overseen by the current King and William and Catherine. But why single out Catherine? She was the only one there, and we all know why. It's the same reason the sugars on the table MM is so envious of her. They curry favor because they idolize her, no spelling errors intended. These supposed friends should understand that royal events are planned months in advance, and the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebration was already scheduled on the day of Lilibet's party. The Prince and Princess of Wales were expected to skip the events to attend a hastily arranged party for a 1-year-old. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on these matters. Please share your opinion in the comments below. Stay cheerful and happy always. Remember to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next videos.